This may be the most underrated crypto gem that virtually nobody outside of the crypto circles are talking about. And I'm talking about none other than SUI, the layer 1 blockchain that is blazingly fast and was developed by the former team at Meta. Now, if you go ahead and ask anyone with a Robinhood account or a retail investor whether they've heard of Solana, almost without a question, the answer is always yes. Ask the same people if they've ever heard about SUI, and they'll ask you if it's a Japanese dish. In other words, if you're here to find out if you're still early and whether SUI is still a crypto gem with insane potential for gains before 2025, then look no further. Now, to preface this video, back in the bull run of 2020 through 2021, Solana was designed to be a competitor to Ethereum as an layer 1 blockchain. Many folks called it the Ethereum killer. And in many ways, from an investment perspective, this seemed to be true, as investing in Solana on its breakout would have netted you about 6,180% to its all-time high. In that same period of time, investing in Ethereum would have netted you 217%. Still large by traditional standards, but not nearly as much as Solana. Well, each new bull run, money likes to flow into the latest, greatest crypto with great technology. Investors like young cryptos with great income potential. So is it possible that SUI can truly be the Solana killer of this cycle and outperform most, if not all, of the other major market cap altcoins? Well, in this video, I'll be sharing some of the key reasons SUI is poised for huge gains before 2025 and how you can profit from them. We'll be covering a key partnership with one of the largest companies on planet Earth and how this will play into a strong narrative for more retail investors to dump their money into the SUI token. We'll be talking about SUI's speed as a layer 1 blockchain and how it accomplishes these blazing fast speeds. We'll be sharing some key insights from one of the founders on how SUI may just have the ultimate advantage in onboarding the next 1 billion users in a very novel way that no other L1 blockchain has. And we'll be comparing how SUI stacks up against other chains and, most importantly, why you're still early and will likely regret not investing sooner by the end of this video. Now, as a final note, all of the stuff I share in this video will mostly be relevant months from now. However, the price won't be the exact same, so time is of the essence. Sooner is better. So if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777, and if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Before we dive in, a quick reminder that the opinions in this video are for informational and educational purposes only and do not constitute financial, legal, or investment advice. All investments, including cryptos, carry risks and potential losses. Always do your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor. We are not licensed financial advisors, and relying on our content for financial decisions is at your own risk. By watching this video, you agree we are not responsible for any losses or damages, and we do not guarantee any specific results or outcomes. Some of the links below may be affiliate links, and we may earn a commission, which actually helps support this channel and helps us to create value-based videos like this. We also hold some positions in the cryptocurrencies that we talk about, but that's only because we do what we believe in. However, this should not be interpreted as a recommendation for you to do the same. With that said, let's get into the video. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul, and first and foremost, I want to preface this video by sharing with you the current price of SUI at $2.02. I do believe it's cheap enough for the masses to look at and say, wow, I can buy quite a few of those, considering Solana is sitting at $140, which looks cheaper, right? And ultimately, we're looking at a $5.59 billion market cap, which when bull markets really start to rally and things break out and take off, you could easily see this thing hit $80 to $100 billion. And ultimately, if you want to invest in a crypto, you definitely want it to be a newer crypto currently trending among crypto folks, so then normies start to get in. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now, as social dominance, indicated by this yellow line right here, is consistently climbing and climbing and climbing for a total of 1.5% of all conversations among all cryptos. Things are actually really starting to heat up for SUI. And that said, it's very reminiscent of the old Solana days when it broke out to a new all-time high and put in a 6,000% gain from about $4 all the way up to $2. And so one of the major reasons that SUI is not only poised to do well in terms of price action, I would argue it's because of the narrative. It's one of the fastest, if not the fastest, layer one blockchain that is actually improving upon and using new technology relative to something like Solana or Ethereum. In both of those cases, they process transactions consistently, one after the other after the other. However, with SUI, they use a technology with a new programming language called Move, and the technology is a parallelization execution. Basically, all that means is transaction parallelization enables the processing of multiple transactions simultaneously. Picture a one-lane road expanded to a multi-lane highway. More traffic can move through, reducing wait times and fuel costs from idling in traffic. And directly from the SUI website, they're talking about a SUI network with 100 globally distributed validators achieved peak throughput ranging from 10,000 to 297,000 TPS on various workloads. SUI's time to finality in terms of a transaction is 480 milliseconds. That is insanely fast. And so it's one thing to have a really good blockchain, but it's another to create a blockchain that's easy to build on, right? Ultimately, you can have the best blockchain in the world, but if it's in the desert and no one's building on it and no one's using it, it doesn't really matter. That said, when it comes to the architecture and the infrastructure to allow for development in transactions, here is Evan Chang, one of the founders of SUI, talking about what they did to make this thing a blockchain that is going to be an absolute killer.
Transactions, all sorts of business and industry. Where do you feel that SUI could potentially fit in and really solve big problems?
Yeah, so first of all, we position SUI as the coordination layer. It's the ultimate developer platform, right? So if you think about what a developer needs, they want infrastructure to get out of the way to solve problem for them, to serve them the product, right? You don't want them to think about all the complexity, right? So we think more in terms of that, right? So if you have a developer platform, right, people are used to using cloud infrastructure, you don't want to think about capacity limitation, right? So when SUI came out, the first most important design is the architecture allow us to get to the point where there's no constraints on capacity ever. People talk about scalability, TPS. SUI has the design to get us to the point where there's never going to be any kind of limitation in terms of the capacity. More demand, more capacity, elasticity. So then we started addressing the speed problem, right? So when we think about speed, it's really about response time, latency, end-to-end latency. There's a lot of different components. Usually there is a trade-off between capacity and latency, but we solved that problem.
And this is exactly the type of architecture that major companies like Google want to see, as Google Cloud recently integrated the SUI blockchain data into a BigQuery public data set. This essentially allows and creates for an environment for devs to innovate more with SUI dApps. And a dApp is a decentralized application. Amit Zavery, the vice president at Google Cloud, even said that SUI's advanced blockchain technology and commitment to user-friendly experiences makes them a valuable collaborator for delivering transformative applications that can be easily embraced by Web 3 and Web 2 developers. You don't typically get these types of endorsements from major players at some of the biggest companies in the world. SUI is one of the only blockchains that has, which is exactly why SUI network is flipping even Solana with a record-breaking performance, hitting more transactions at its peak than virtually all other chains combined. And here is a quick demo of that exact thing. And one of the major reasons that this happened is because SUI Network has 8 times cheaper fees than Solana and 1,450 times cheaper fees than Ethereum just in September alone, which explains why SUI Network is quickly surpassing Solana in terms of transactions. People don't want to pay high fees. Ultimately, they want quick transactions with real finality at extremely affordable rates. But that's not all. They also want reliability, something that SUI has really built into their architecture, something that Solana hasn't actually solved, as it's had many days of downtime.
The thing that occurs often with blockchains is uptime. And if you kind of look at I'll zoom in on this right here is mainnet status over outages, partial outages. The ones we compare against, I would say, Solana, Ton is in here, and then Aptos, all of which have had outages throughout, 19.6, 2 days. SUI has been pretty much on cue for being up in terms of a network. Obviously, that works very specifically for a lot of different platforms, including payments, also gaming ecosystems, developers that are really starting to try to get into things that really require uptime as a key component there. What is it that makes you guys capable of performing like this? Explain that.
Well, first is the design, right? You can't engineer your way out of a bad design. A lot of blockchains are going to continue to have those kind of problems because there's design issues, right? This is why it's very, very important for us to assure everything else, like, kind of have been validated by the scientific community, right, at the protocol level. Then you basically engineer the best system based on that design, and then you have operational kind of excellence to be able to monitor and watch anything, right? So because nobody's perfect.
And so when we think about architecture and how they built this entire system out for SUI to really win, here's another one of the co-founders, Adenii, talking about what they're building for and how they are actually going to outperform the other blockchains in terms of scalability and then onboarding the next billion users. Listen to this.
There needs to be this coordination layer that allows you to really coordinate users' intentions around what they want to do with the assets in a very atomic and a very scalable way. Nobody was building that. I saw an opportunity to do that at Facebook, jumped at that with both hands, had a lot of fun. We didn't get to launch, unfortunately, for various reasons. But now with Misten, we can realize that dream and do that at a much accelerated pace than was ever possible. One of the things I'm most proud about that we invented recently was something called ZK Login, and also sponsor transactions. ZK Login allows you to use your existing Facebook account, Google account, any OAuth-based Web2 account that you have to create a wallet and start transacting without worrying about gas, because sponsor transactions will cover the gas on your behalf. So you can build compelling Web2 experiences using SUI without introducing people to the concept of wallets, which I think are the dumbest thing ever created. Mm-hmm. Wallets should not exist. That's our view. Like, quite frankly, you should be able to onboard using your existing Web2 account, start transacting with crypto, without ever having to worry about wallets and all the complexities of the infrastructure. Divorcing the infrastructure from the consumer is really going to be the barrier, right, that we have to solve. And we've solved that in an immensely great way at Mr. Labs. And SUI ecosystem starting to grow. We're seeing the amount of growth on Web2 accounts on the SUI ecosystem significantly. And I think our view by 2030, majority of games will have a form of ownership and it will be powered by SUI. So we want to onboard 3.3 billion gamers onto the platform.
And although we've already seen a plethora of Web3 games, let's be honest, the majority of them just aren't fun. There haven't been that many good developers in the space, and that's because Web2 companies still dominate. Why would they want to give that up? Eventually, though, the economy of gaming is going to move to Web3. However, we don't want this issue with wallets and onboarding. Ultimately, I used to be able to create an account for free online. Why would I want all of these complexities and issues and then to pay gas on top of that? So what they've done that's extremely smart is they've integrated something called SUI Play. And when you hop on over to SUI Play, it is literally powered by a game console called Playtron, and that's going to have an OS, I believe, on Windows. Now, what's so beautiful about that is anyone that's already building games can just upload their game straight to this platform. People are going to play fun games, and then they can choose to use the Web3 optionality. So now there's really no barrier to entry. People are playing games as they always have, and there's a way to integrate Web3 and arguably SUI into the entire platform. This is truly brilliant, and I think they are leagues ahead in terms of their thinking because most Web3 games just suck and haven't won so far. And one last time from the founder, here's what he has to say about their gaming platform and console.
Very, very excited about what's coming here. And more importantly, a lot of partners are signing up to distribute their games, right? And to offer that sort of like first kind of look at what Web3 does for gaming. That's exciting because this is about OS level integration with SUI. Right? This is not just, let's add a wallet to a consumer device. And right. And that's powerful. And we're going to see get the first taste of it.
So it's no wonder that crypto communities are really hopping on the bandwagon with SUI, but it doesn't mean it's too late. However, nearly 27% of Sol's outflows last month have moved to SUI. I do believe if there is such a thing as a Solana killer, SUI is likely it. So now I want to compare the price action of Solana and SUI because they seem to be really similar. A lot of folks continue to compare them, and ultimately the price action on both is really explosive on breakouts. In a previous move, very recently, 2023, we saw from October 2023 all the way into March of 2024 an explosive move from 25, 26 bucks all the way up to $210 on Solana. So this breakout was truly a parabolic move. Well, in similar fashion, right now we're at $2 on SUI. Again, just from the perspective of that it looks cheap relative to Solana, I think a lot of normies and retail investors are going to pile in when they really find out about this. But ultimately, we're getting a double bottom right here, or some sort of an Adam and Eve type structure, right? Where the lowest low came in first in similar fashion with SUI. Then you had a higher low right here. And in similar fashion in August, we saw a higher low with SUI before coming right back up to the resistance line right here. A breakout, I believe, could easily take us parabolic to at least $20, if not $40 on SUI. In other words, you stand to 10 to 20x based on my best estimates. Now, that's no guarantee, income disclaimer, so on and so forth, right? Ultimately, you can lose money in markets, but I'm pretty confident a breakout with some strong volume right here is going to look really, really good. So let's go ahead and take a look at the volume to see if this volume is confirming the move. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this horizontal line and put it at where it touches the most amount of points. Right here on listing, $2. Again, right up here in March of 2024, and yet again right now. We're seeing this double bottom pattern. What I'm really after is I want to see volume really starting to expand and grow into this range right here for a breakout. In other words, we're looking at volume now, and volume in similar fashion went really, really low. People got bored, disinterested, and then as the market started rallying, you can see volume consistently growing and expanding to the upside, hitting the third standard of deviation. What this means is there's about a 4% chance on either side, whether it's sell volume or buy volume, that it hits this white line, and we're seeing a major expansion. And then typically in markets, you see these types of expansions, right? After contractions, and vice versa. After a major expansion, you see a contraction in similar fashion right over here. Well, what we're seeing right now is the volume confirming that there is a boatload of demand and buying happening all through this range right here. So what we're likely going to see is on a breakout, volume continue to expand. And instead of sitting at an average of like $4 million, as you can see right here, okay, it's going to start to expand to $10 million average per day, 4 million, or, $40 million average dollars per day, whatever the case may be. Now, this is on Qcoin, but typically on a Binance exchange, you'll see this volume expand and expand and expand, and eventually you'll see it contract as it peaks and tops off. That said, I think right now would be the perfect time. Even if you're a week or two late, totally fine, because I do believe this thing's going to rally through the start of 2025. So there you have it, folks. If you enjoyed the video and learned something new, head on over to bullrunners.com. You can find the link in the description below or in the very first pinned comment. Make sure it's the pinned comment so you're not getting scammed or some person is putting up a fake link. We get those all the time. But bullrunners.com, if you want to become a crypto millionaire, this is a great way to join our early bird list for some exclusive altcoin picks like this, market analysis that's private to only our members, and early access to our crypto education platform. One last time, bullrunners.com. Look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thanks so much for watching the video. I look forward to seeing you next time. Goodbye.